Call the meeting to order. Jennifer, just speak up if you're not hearing us. I will begin the meeting just with our land acknowledgements. So we do acknowledge Treaty 6 territory, the traditional and ancestral territory of the Cree, Dene, Blackfoot, Saulteaux, and the Court Sioux. We acknowledge that the territory is home to the Métis settlements and Métis Nation of Alberta, regions 2, 3, and 4 within the historical Northwest Métis homeland. We acknowledge the many First Nations, Métis, and Inuit who have lived and cared for these lands for generations. And we are grateful to the traditional knowledge keepers and elders who are still with us today and those who have gone before us. We make this acknowledgement as an act of reconciliation and gratitude to those whose territory we reside on or are visiting. Adoption of the agenda. Looking good. Thanks, Jennifer. You might notice we restructured a few things on Commissioner Will Larson's suggestion just to move our standing items ahead in camera so it flows more smoothly. We do have several in camera matters, so we are hoping to get through the main portion of our meeting effectively and efficiently. And then just a reminder that we do have a scheduled meeting to review KPI strategies at 11, and Brenda Vaughn will be joining us and facilitating this for that.
We adopt the agenda as printed.
Thank you. Got the Gen Cam seconds. All in favor? Minutes from January 20th meeting. I know that I perused them a while ago, but can't remember. Cora moves, Elaine seconds, all in favor? Thank you, everybody. No presentations today, so we'll move straight into reports. Chief, what's been going on?
I've been in meetings for the last few days as well, so I've got meeting exhaustion as well. So I'm just going to skim over my report really quickly. If there's any questions, feel free to ask them. Budget, because it's the first month of the year, everything looks good. As far as 2021 reconciliation of the books, finance will have everything reconciled by the end of this month and ready for our March meeting. And all looks good there. No public complaints in January, and the absence of a PCD, I did with Ken to discuss that position a little bit. He had some questions, met and gone through that process. And then the one matter that we'll be dealing with in camera, the 45-day notice was supplied to on that. Well, I think it's September. And other than that, operationally, it's actually been quite busy. We've had a bit of an uptick in property crimes, stolen vehicles, flights from police, and daily mental health type calls for service. Our training area, training is starting to open up for our members in person and online, but all the sergeants, TA sergeants have completed a 60-hour online police leadership training program. We hired one new full-time dispatcher to place a vacancy. Our APIS e-ticketing, the provincial administrative ticketing mechanism, was supposed to start February 1st, has now been delayed till May 5th. There's public pushback on that, so the government suspended that for a few months. We were ready to go, and we had everybody trained for that system, but that has been temporarily suspended. And I had a meeting with sergeants, TA sergeants to discuss manpower shortage, scheduling, other operational issues. That meeting went well. We're going through all our assessments for members and civilian staff, so that process is well underway. And as that process is completed, I'll be meeting with each staff member to review those assessments. Provide an opportunity to have one-on-ones with all of our staff. And a lot of the month was spent in meetings and discussions on WCB process, status of various individuals, and we go in camera, I'll give you more detail on those specific updates. First week goes our new replacement vehicle that we ordered last fall, should be in March. We'll get that going. And then we have some trickle chargers installed in all the vehicles to help maintain the batteries and computer systems. That was a relatively small cost of $300, but facility cost to put electrical cords and other items in to facilitate that was another $2,100. Overall, it saves our vehicles from running out of the parking lot to maintain batteries, keep our equipment going. And then the human resource items that are on my report, I'll speak to those in camera. However, we have extended offers to 2 individuals. We'll be starting March 1st and we'll attend training in Edmonton March 7th. So very active in the recruiting and the screening process for those 2 positions. So we are very happy to extend the offers to 2 new individuals with those previous policing experience. And that is my report.
Thank you, Chief. Questions at this point for the Chief?
$2,400 seems like a real cheap investment for having to run a vehicle for 24/7.
Yeah,
That's
the way we saw it.
That's not bad.
We have the SRO report, complete with some pictures, which is quite lovely. Looks like some good interactions being had, including rocking a vehicle out of the snowdrift.
Yeah.
Was that like a big group or just?
I'm not sure, but it was it's one of those things you run into as an SRO, and it's better to help out, and it goes a long way with the students when you form those relationships. Help them out with snowbank. One of the things with Possible Wilser is previous years, a lot of attention's been at the high school, junior high level. She's really, she's not dismissing those schools, but she sees the value in really making those connections at that middle school level. And really, if you're going to identify problems and maybe find solutions, it's you need to get an early start on that. So her focus has been that middle school realm. So she's enjoying the work and doing a good job.
Good, 'cause I know it was, sometimes you have to talk people into that job, and it's nice when they enjoy it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Budget is in, so as the chief mentioned, we're pretty close in just for a month, but want to take a couple minutes just to review it, see if there's any questions immediately.
Did we ever get the provincial grants for 20? Okay.
Yeah, we did, and it was like
December
the last
31st at 5 o'clock.
Yeah, absolutely.
I just have one question. Why are there two lines for each budget line? Like, why can't it just be one, the budget amount, and then the actual amount, and then the variance, just as, why is it listed twice? I'm looking for every, I know you're not producing this report, but for my reading of it, doesn't always make sense, but, yeah, but do you know what I'm asking?
Yeah, so
Makes the report that much longer than.
So single space instead of double space, is that what you're thinking?
Yeah, well,
It's
it's
duplicated.
Well, yeah, there's like 2 general services, 2 security clearances, and
Yeah.
goods and services, so.
Oh, yeah.
yeah, and one's pertaining the budget amount, and the other one is pertaining to the actual amount. And to me, it reads better when you see budget actual and variances.
Like if you had columns
Mhm.
and then one line per
Per item.
Yeah, I see. So that there's,
Yeah, it is just in my little brain, maybe that reads better across the way, but.
I never noticed, but now I do. I
Exactly.
never noticed, but now I do.
never get it out of your head.
Thanks,
Thanks,
Cora.
Cora. It's just a request, but it's not. Yeah.
I don't know whether it has to do with the math or addition at the end. The actual is always on the second line, the budget is on the first line.
Correct.
When you get over to the third line, whether it's when they're doing the.
Yeah. I sit on a lot of committees and I don't have to receive except those two lines, so that's
Right.
just where it comes from. And paper, I'm trying to save paper.
Environmental.
One page.
Sorry, Corey.
No, things just, you don't see. Check and see if there's a different way to print it.
This is the report that comes out, so this would be the same for every city department, so I think would be a finance.
But it's
Thing
not
too,
always.
but,
Okay, maybe I just.
Well, if they make any changes, I don't know. I'll have to look
Just
at it.
like looking at
Maybe the button
I'm looking at July
and it's
of
different.
2021.
And it was
And-
single.
Yeah,
or
there's
space
their
and a half, it
columns,
looks like
budget,
it's
actual, variance.
And all in the same one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because
Someone
that seems
just done something different on it. All right, my report, of course, we all met together on February 2nd, and I did a bit of meeting prep on February 8th. So other than that, not a lot. Vice Chair report is in. Mr. Penstone?
Very similar to the chair's report. We all met for that supplemental meeting on the 2nd, and then just kind of get myself familiarized with Julie's record keeping and finding out where everything's at for training, and I guess finding out what needs to be done for training. So that's kind of where, excuse me, that's where I've been the past month.
Councilor Hoekstra?
I can't believe I'm complaining about pages when mine covers two. I just wanted to make one correction, about the affordable housing steering committee that I'm on. It says in there that, they're hoping people will move into the Lacombe Hotel before the end of February, but it's gonna be the end of March. And if you have any chance to ever tour that building, jump at it, because it is quite fascinating. They've been doing here, so, I was able to do that.
So will get Lacombe Foundation run the rent or?
No, they only vet the clients.
Okay.
So they are the only ones, if the application goes to Lacombe Foundation, they, according to, what is it called? Anyhow, the social housing criteria, they'll vet whether the client qualifies, and then it gets handed over to Tribe or his committee. Be the landlords.
Any questions on reports?
I would move we accept all reports.
Thanks, Elaine. Ken for a seconder. Jen, all in favor? Unanimous? All right, old business was just getting our organizational chart in order. It's not part of the agenda package, I didn't notice.
It was in
It was
there.
part of
Or was
the
it?
outline.
Yeah, it's just after the,
Oh, was it after Aapg?
Yeah.
Thanks. Chief, once you took a peek at this,
Yep, so we modified the last one you saw. And Johnstone brought some observations forward. We've corrected it. The authorized strength is 23 members. Actually, the old chart didn't actually have the police commission identified. But this does accurately reflect the number of staff, current staff, and positions.
so then from the commission's point of view, after a little bit of a review, I think is simply to acknowledge and adopt the organizational chart as part of our approval of the way the chief has established the service and authorized.
Give us some for information.
No, we should actually make a motion to approve the authorized strength as shown in present organizational chart.
just one question, going off the old one, do we need to add the cell guard, casual cell guards to it at all?
We actually did over on the other side. but we
Oh,
just
yeah,
put that
casual
in
fine,
one.
okay,
So all casuals are in blue, and we just put a number for the positions instead of putting boxes. Those can change.
gotcha.
Chief Chair, I will move that we approve the local service organizational chart updated 2022-02-17 to reflect the authorized strength of the local police service.
And Cam Penstone seconds. So Jen, did you find that?
Could you just repeat that again? It's very hard to hear Elaine. Sorry, Elaine, you have the nice quiet voice and it's hard to hear sometimes, so.
I move that we accept the Lacombe Police Service organizational chart, which reflects the authorized strength of the police service, dated 2022-02-17.
Chair, can I have an explanation of the dotted lines versus solid lines?
That is the seconded position.
Okay, but even, like the
For the
alert
alert.
dotted, and then, but the Lacombe Police Commission is what's the implication there as a dotted?
It's your governance, not operational oversight.
Any further discussions? All in favor? Unanimous? Every time Sonia touches her nose, that's, yes. Public complaint director position. So Brad Pears had offered his resignation. And at the last meeting, we declined to accept it, so we remain in compliance with standards. Since then, I did receive a letter from Commissioner Kulak to say that he would be interested in taking that appointment. Is there anyone else who would be interested in taking on that appointment? We're very appreciative. What are you thinking? Good?
Yes, good.
So then at this point in time, unless there's further discussion or questions on the matter, we should simply have a motion on the record to appoint Commissioner Ken Kulak to be our public complaints director. Correct, will move. Second,
John.
John, we need John's name.
John's got it on the minutes.
So my question is, it's not on the org chart or my, no,
No.
okay, but it was on this one, this,
So the PCD is ours.
okay.
Should be almost the dotted line. Ah,
You don't need it on the.
Yeah.
Yeah, for the service. But I think good question. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Congrats, Ken.
Yes.
Thank you, Ken.
We'll see in a year.
What did I restate that?
I have no idea. Whether we know. So Jen, the chief is asking, I think we have to check in whether we have to notify the province of our new public complaint director.
Okay, I'll look into that and go through the binder and make sure we're in compliance that way. Yeah.
Thanks so much. I know there's some other things that will happen within the service to authorize the position as well.
Yeah, and Jen, if there is any other requirements, if you can let us know. Because there's, of course, we've got to set up the cell phone business cards, but then anything that might be required by the province, you could advise us, that would be great.
So
Okay,
one
I'll look after that on Monday when I'm back in the office.
of the things that we talked about at past meetings and something that we've been putting off because we were expecting the province to come up with a new PCD plan is what we can do as a commission just to make sure that the position of PCD is well known and well accessed. So it's something to give some thought to. And even if it is, we've got business cards on in the front desk area and possibly, doing a little bit more work. You can say put it on the website. I don't know whoever looks at a website, but
I think
it's
people that
better.
are complaining or thinking that it will search the website.
Yeah.
For the city website.
Would you mind taking a peek at how people are accessing you and letting us know if you have any ideas on how to improve that? Thanks, Ken.
Just on commission training and PCD training, bit of a discussion during our Alberta Chiefs meetings this week. I think the province is going to move forward with some of the changes to the Police Act fairly soon.
Okay.
But I did voice that training support of the commissions is vital and it needs to happen sooner than later, and also support of the PCDs and the training for PCDs as well. So if nothing else, I've made the statement, and the government just seems to be holding off on. We've got a lot of things in wait for the Police Act to be updated, but it appears that they're going to move forward fairly soon. So we might have some opportunities for some more input or wants or wishes from the commissions as they
March break for them to.
Yeah, the budget's coming through here the next week.
Which would be into March or into the.
All right, so next on our agenda is the Aapg annual meeting. So I think I gave a quick chat about this last meeting, but I would encourage as many of our commission members to attend. I think especially since we have so many new commission members, it's a good idea. And it does tend to be, it's quite informational and provides some good networking as well. So it is in St. Albert this year, which is much more convenient drive than Medicine Hat, which is lovely. The way it is set up is that they will separate us from the policing committees, just so that it's specific to our needs. So give that some thought, but we should be making, we should be actually entering our people quite quickly. Early registration, oh no, I was looking at the date. Does anyone know for sure that they are able to make it for April 29th? Laura? What I might be inclined to do is ask Jennifer just to enter 4 spots. And then we can just see closer to, depending on your schedules, who can come.
I'm about 90% sure.
Okay.
I'm about to say.
Okay.
This one.
That's for,
10%.
50-50.
No, I'm just kidding.
That's what does some awesome. Yeah, we got an early spring.
yeah.
That'll be good.
So let's do this. Jennifer, would you enter us for 5 spots from the commission? I don't think Sonia will come, but we can always add one on later if we need. Yes, Lynn? On 6?
Diane, and just for everybody's information, Diane is the interim chair of the Community Advisory Committee for Alert, which the Aapg has helped coordinate and find members to fill seats on the Community Advisory Committee. And some of those are commission members, some of those are from AUMA, and some are from RMA. But Diane, were you going to that meeting?
I'm not aware as of yet. We're having an organizational meeting on March 2nd, and that'll just, at that organizational meeting, we'll have who's going to be officially the chair for the next few years. So I don't know where that's going to take me or not at this point. We have a lot of new members, so I'm not anticipating 100%, but I have a feeling it'll end up still sticking with me for a little while. So I may be attending.
Okay, I'm pretty sure you'll be in that position too, but also for the interim, Victoria from the Aapg is providing some administrative support to the CAC. That may change before the meeting, but there's a few tie-ins to Diane's position as well. So she attended with
Our group, that would be really
that would
nice.
be great.
Okay. For sure.
So at this point, our instruction to Jennifer is, would you go? No, I'm just curious.
I could. It's just a lot of competed information.
Yeah.
And I think it gives the commissions an opportunity to talk themselves on issues relevant.
Chair, what's the cost?
I believe that it's $400 or $500 a person. And that we do have enough budget to cover it. You know, I talked last time about us maybe being a little bit frugal about it, but I think is based on the fact we really haven't been able to attend one for so long. I'd like to encourage everybody to go. You know, Sonia, if she'd like to, she's been to several and presented at them, so that, like the chief said, some of the information is more of a instructional and old news for Sonia with her experience. And I, depending on what's going on, might do the same thing just because I have been to several. But if we booked Cam in and he wasn't able to go, then I would go, is what my thought is.
And just get her easy out.
Sonia? Oh, yeah. I want to keep Sonia on my side for all sorts of reasons, for all the multiple committees we're on together. How's that?
So if Jennifer goes 5 spots,
Mm-hmm.
then are we committed to those 5 spots and we pay for them and there's no cancellation?
You know, should that happen, I think we can fill 5 spots in any event.
And the hotels up to us?
The hotel, we leave to everyone else to book on their own, and then you would expense. Are you concerned? Just say 4 and then add a 5th if we need it? I'm sure they're not going to say no when we add. It's probably just a banquet.
Yeah, I'm just looking on here for.
Yeah, no, I can't find the price
accelerated,
either.
like, cost. When you have to register by, if there's an early bird discount. And I'm not seeing any of that information.
Me neither.
But I do note that if you choose an optional event, that is, when you have to purchase tickets in advance, it doesn't tell you how much it is, but you just gotta have it. So they've got lots of information about. It's missing some basic information.
Okay, so what are you suggesting?
I'm suggesting that we know the costs. And what recourse we have if we commit, if we speak for a certain number of lots and then are unable to.
Sure, I'm sure we have time as well.
Yeah, I mean, it is over 2 months away, right?
Corey, I just pulled up the email,
Yes.
sorry, Chair. And so early registration is by February 28th, and you save $50 per registration. If you buy 3 registrations, you receive the 4th at $175. And it is
Looks like
early $300. Early bird is $225, yes.
The regular cancellation.
doesn't say. So we're members, right, Jennifer, so that we would get the early registration at 225 with one at 175.
Correct.
So I don't know that we're risking a lot of money and that we're better off to buy them on the early bird. I think if that's consensus.
Yes.
Jennifer, would you sign us up for 5? And if you need to put names, put everybody but Sonia and I. Sonia, did you want to go to it? Okay. Everyone but Sonia and I, and then she and I can fill in if there's someone who is not able to attend at the time. Or we can invite Jennifer. We can, there are a lot of people. Jennifer might even really benefit from it as well. Which is a point if you have interest, Jennifer. Okay. Good enough? So on to new business. It is definitely time in our work plan to do a policy manual review. And what we've done in the past is just ask for a volunteer to take a look at it. I know that Jennifer Peterson has identified some work that needs to be done on records management. And so that if we could have a volunteer to work with Jennifer and then just take a read, just make sure it makes sense. See if there's anything that you're seeing as missing. And then work on bringing some proposals back to the commission about whether things do or don't need to be changed.
It's not the whole binder, Corey. It's
No, just the
part.
policy part.
33 pages.
And it has been gone through fairly thoroughly over the last couple of years, so it shouldn't be a complete overhaul. It should be a bit of an audit. And when you're reading it, remembering that it's being written with the police operating standards and our standards for the police commissions as well. So that you'll see references to those regulations in the policy manual so that you can tell why we've said something. And without question, over the last couple of years that I've been here, we've gotten to the point of records management when I'm exhausted. Let's move along. So I'm glad that Jennifer has taken that initiative to bring that up for us.
What's the timeline on this?
Spring. We need to review it once a year, so there's not a deadline for it. I know that when I did it, it was a really good way to really dig in and understand a bit more about it.
Policy on share that kind of sounds like something that if we were at conference together, maybe do a round of tape.
We could do that. We could do it fun, but why don't we do this? Jennifer, I know that you have prepared some ideas already that you sent to me that I haven't read. What I might ask you to do is provide the suggestions that you have for improving the record management if you feel that you're at that stage or that you need help to pull it together.
Chair, there's just a couple other things that we have to amend in there to add the land acknowledgement, as well as possibly the agenda and how it's laid out. But other than that, the major one this year was the records management. So we were in compliance and in line with the city's policy.
Would we be out of line in just asking you to insert your suggestions so that we could review them? Or do you feel like that it would be better to be done by a committee?
I'm okay if you give me directions on which areas you would like amended, and then I can present some options. And then if you guys are okay with them, we could just amend the policy based on that.
Well, and I'm quite satisfied with your suggestions that you've looked at it. Let's add the land acknowledgement. Let's fix the agenda. And especially you coming in new, trying to help us administer, you maybe seeing some holes that we don't see anymore. And then throw in what some options are for us on the records management, because it's certainly not our forte. And then we can take a look at those proposed amendments, get it done.
Okay, yeah, I'm okay with that.
Thanks,
If you just would like to set a timeline, and I can have some ideas or suggestions together, recommendations, I guess, together by that meeting, or?
Could we do it for next meeting then?
Yeah.
It's okay, you know, based on your workload, Jennifer, it's not that this is a deadline, it's just an annual requirement.
Okay.
So
yeah.
Turns out you can't, then we'll try for March. If not, then we'll shoot for April. But knowing us, get it, and then we'll need to read it again, and then it would be the next month before we're approving.
Yep, that sounds good.
Thanks, Jennifer.
You're welcome.
All right, item 8.2 on our agenda is at the Aapg. They also have an AGM, and they're asking for nominations for people to sit on the Alberta Association of Police Governance. We haven't had someone from Lacombe on that board. I don't know if we have ever. If there is any interest, I would be happy to then facilitate our commission making a nomination. I'm making a promise not to volunteer for anything else for the next year, so not me. But throw it out there, you know, I know that we've got lots of new members, so that might not be where we're at, but it's something to consider. This group does actually give us a lot of support behind the scenes, so it's an important part, and depending on your thoughts about moving up and along in boards within the police environment in the government, this could be a good stepping stone. They also call for resolutions so that we can give some thoughts. Like one year when I was super keen, I called for a resolution to improve rural crime response for whatever that did. But it's, I think that's what the Aapg is doing, is saying we want to hear from our members about what should we be pushing at upper government levels, because they are our voice with all these upper committees. So again, something to give thought to if you have a pressing thought. Lauren, is there anything that that you have, that you'd like to have us help express from a on the ground point of view?
A lot of discussion at our chiefs meeting this week. And, this commission's dealing with it to a degree, is political interference in policing and the role of the commission, council, and the police service. And we've seen it on the national news, local news, in regards to the protests and how much political pressure there is on operational policing in this day and age. So there's other police chiefs that would be nervous to even bring this up to their commissions, but I think all of you are kind of get it and have been dealing with these issues and are working through it as well. So I think, my perspective, that would be a great conversation to have with the Aapg as well. There's a lot of political interference these days, and it is having a tendency to erode confidence in policing, and that's really the priority for the agencies and the commissions, is that, and the communities, is that we maintain confidence in police and policing. And there's kind of an erosion from both sides, so it's becoming challenging for police services, police chiefs to perform their function effectively. And we can use the Ottawa chief as a current example of how things can go visibly wrong. So I'll throw that out to you.
Chair, I would just have a question with regard to the annual general meeting. So for that AGM, does each member have one vote, or does each commission have a vote of the commissioners present?
Each commission has one vote.
So somebody will carry that vote if you don't attend as chair.
That's right. Saturday at 7:30 a.m. I'm sure I'll have many people lining up to take on that responsibility.
Long term, we're still in the Bennington.
Well, that's interesting. On the agenda, the next AGM will be at Rocky Mountain House. They've just formed their policing committee, I think, 2 or 3 years ago. So give us some thought. Our deadline is March 29th. So Jennifer, would you put that on the next agenda? Old business is consider presenting a resolution to Aapg. Okay. Further discussion on that, your thoughts? So I guess between now and the next meeting is giving some consideration to where we want to go with that. And, you know, I definitely think it's timely. And so it is something just to say this is something that Aapg can give us a hand with.
It really ties into that training piece as well, and then supporting the training. I guess advocating at the government level to ensure that training is in place and it's consistent and accessible.
It actually goes both ways as well. There's a lot of pressure on politicians for what's going on that's not necessarily in their purview either. So that's the clarity on that in the public realm would be helpful. So 8.4 is our 11 o'clock meeting. For information, there was letters to Minister Madu, former Minister Madu. These had come, so they were in January, and so I think I had inserted them in. We get copies of these emails from the Aapg, so when I put them in your package, Jennifer puts them in your package, it is keeping you informed of the information that's coming through. I don't have a lot to comment about it, Chief. I don't know if there's anything you want to highlight to us on it.
So this is in regards to the Alberta Interim Police Advisory Board. So that advisory board will be transferring over to a confirmed board. What this board will be, you already are members of the Lacombe Police Commission. So this is a provincial board that will, all of the RCMP local boards will feed up to. So it's basically a provincial commission to oversee everything. So the interim board is there. They're just going to make it a permanent board. So it doesn't really affect anyone here per se.
Okay. I was thinking that it was relating to just the investigation into provincial police and things like that, but it's not.
No, it's more governance oriented, but we talked about the APPS. There's a number of committees. This topic is definitely part of that discussion, and what that looks like moving forward. But interim board is just becoming interim board.
Okay. Lots of questions? Moving on.
What about you?
Oh, I'm sorry, John. We are now at item 10, standing
It's
items.
just in this.
Oh, the letter, yeah, it was
It was farther.
way in the back.
Right out of. Bristol? Yeah,
Yeah.
okay, okay. Yeah, no, I'm just, I look at most of the stuff on the computer and I can't seem to get onto the computer to see where I was,
Okay.
this page can't come. Did you get logged in to the police commission?
And I went on the one.
Oh, okay, okay.
So I guess fundamentally it's keeping the commission informed of some of the things going on provincially, case that's relevant to us and just keep us in the loop. All right, so item 10.1, our annual work plan. So we did not take a solid look at this last year. This is something that has been designed to help keep us on track to make sure that we're always in compliance with the standards that we have. So of course, we've attained our organizational meeting in January. January is the start of LPC member orientation, which we did give at least a good shot at, and that will be something that as vice chair kind of picks through the information we have on training and then takes a look at what's available. But I feel like we're not ignoring that element of it. When you're taking a look at that in the policy manual, there's a list of what needs to be done.
Gotcha.
So it's there. in January, we're supposed to have an annual LPC and LPS strategic plan review, which is of course our KPI strategy. So again, I feel like we're on track with that. And then we do start an annual report. And when I say we, the chief compiles his data and helps prepares a report that we approve and gives some thought to. So that deadline for that, chief, I think was we present that in April.
Yeah. I would hope to present that and report to the commission at our March meeting.
Okay.
And then we present to council April or May typically.
So we have an annual review of our audit compliances. So that was the checklist that I had. And I don't mind, I'll go through that checklist for 2021 and bring that to the next meeting. So Jennifer, if you want to put that on new business, that we need to go through the audit compliance checklist. I better put it on my to-dos. So what I proposed for us to do just at this point in time is go through this whole list and just see if there's any questions, see if there's maybe any restructuring or retiming of things that you can think of. And it's always open for us to look at. Policy manual review, then we've got started, again, thanks to Jennifer. We've already talked in February about attending the Aapg conference. So for March, generally, I think in our policy manual, the vice chair does do a report every quarter. So if you're kind of look to that to as your deadline. We have next in our on 10.3 in our agenda discussing setting up chief's evaluation, the annual evaluation. So again, in our work plan, we're moving along. And again, March, the deadline for our annual. Community survey, 4-year cycle, we still are a year off, so we're okay this year.
Was that done by the city?
The community survey, did we do it?
Okay.
With help from the city.
And that was when we did at the trade show.
That's right.
Actually, on that topic, the trade show is going ahead this year. Does the commission
want versus should? I think it's a good presence that the police service sets up or not this year.
The last couple times, we don't actually get a lot of value out of that, the community liaison leading that or presenting on various items. But it has been a good platform for the commission to just meet and greet or respond to any questions or commission has found value in it. The last time they actually used tablets from the city to have people do the survey right there at the booth. We are doing the survey, a big portion of what the commission did last time. So I kind of leave it up to if the commission's not going to partake in the trade show, then the service probably won't. But commission's interested in set up are in there.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, please. Date, time.
Generally April is the trade show.
Say it's right around that 8
22nd, 23rd.
weekend.
Right. So then the trade show for new in town is runs Friday evening and then Saturday until about 4 o'clock. I like having that police car there. I think that it's good for your community involvement. People are pretty interested in it. I understand though from a staffing exhaustion and COVID and that it's pretty hard to get excited about doing something like that. What are your guys' thoughts?
When I first moved here, there was things that they were recognizing. Chit chat was nothing. Good for the commission people.
Trade shows are grinds. Given that I attend regularly for work, it's it'd be a different trade show, I think, versus obviously a work one. But if we're just gonna stand around and I guess I'm torn because it's a good way to be involved in the community, not only from the service of the commission and actually show the community that, hey, we have a commission and it's a governing body over the service. But on the other hand is the I don't want to say common citizen, but is the run-of-the-mill person really interested in? So that's where I'm torn with the fact, do we go, do we not go, do you show face, which is probably the biggest thing, is just being a PR event essentially for both the service and the commission.
I think you probably find people like hit up the PCE. You'll find people that have complaints and that's where they're gonna, you know. Yeah.
It has to be the whole.
No,
Yeah,
that's
what I heard.
Can you take that on? See ya. Sonia, thoughts?
Okay, so I can hear parts of what you're saying when you talk at the same time. We can't hear anything, so that's a problem. I'm not sure what exactly has been said other than I absolutely think we need to be there as a commission. There's no question in my mind the value. I've gone every single year and we wear our outfits. We look different than the police. We look like we belong to the police. People do ask questions, or if they don't, we go and mix with the public. I like having the car there. I like having a member or two there. I like getting that time to bond with the member that's also there representing the police service. So I only see upside of being involved in the trade show. And if it's a go and we can have it publicly and it's safe, sign me up for 2 or 3 sessions. I'll be there for sure.
Can I?
Sure. Well, I mean, I agree with Cam. It's a grind, right? It's like having open house at school. But it's also, I think, a necessity. You know, it is what you do. And it would be our opportunity to showcase a new public complaints director, right? And to highlight that part of the process for the public. And I just don't see how we'll get out of doing it.
Cap?
Another, I guess, benefit to going is with membership constantly evolving with the 3 years and 6 years. It's a good way to advertise that, hey, we're a public board and anyone can apply. So it's pretty cheap. I wouldn't say cheap, but it's another advertising tool to say, hey, you could be where we're at on a trade show floor in the curling rink in next year if you want to be.
I haven't been to one.
Any other voices on this? So I think then we need a motion to either attend or not attend the trade show. John?
I should attend.
Seconder?
I'll second.
Tam? Any further discussion? All in favor? Unanimous? Sorry, Chief. Now, on the, I actually think that we would be markedly missed if we didn't show up. I know that it's not a lot of fun. Sonia, you put your hand up.
Normally John and I take care of the booking and the members, our commission members, on who takes turns to go the times. So I think I did that by a Google form in the past. So I can take a look at that and then we can just sign up for when it works for you guys to attend. So I don't mind taking care of that, or Jennifer and I can maybe take care of that once we know the times and place.
And
I'll respond to the chamber and book that spot. And I think, Jennifer, if you wouldn't mind checking, I believe the commission has banners that are somewhere at City Hall.
Tanya mentioned outfits.
That was
yeah.
what I was gonna bring.
I was just gonna say that because we have new members that need to get their
Swag on.
swag.
Which we would then wear to the AAPG as well, so that's it. Sorry, I'm smiling because we spent a lot of commission time in meetings on this swag over the years. I wonder, do we try to match what we have existing or just start fresh?
Oh gosh, no, we got to match what we have. We spent a lot of money on that.
Okay.
We've got the template there. It's just a matter of an order, I think. And I think, I don't know why we would start from scratch, but maybe someone else feels differently, but it's good.
I agree with you, Sonia, then down that road.
Unless we
If the template's there, use it.
templates there, but do we get everybody something?
No, I won't need anything new, but.
Oh,
like,
I don't want anything new.
Yeah, just so that, what happens if the shirts that we all have are discontinued, and do we look discombobulated if we don't match? I don't know.
I think we're likely going to come pretty close to what we already have. And I know Judy took care of that ordering in the past. I'm sure she wouldn't mind giving us the contact and the and she brought some sizes to a meeting and got her done. Or actually, our new members could just go down to Kathy and see her and get sized up and get it ordered up, right?
I think that would be the simplest if each member just makes an arrangement with.
I think it was with Kathy. I think it was just here in town.
I think it was Strand, or
Yeah, maybe we can look into that because Judy was doing some work. They work through Strand locally, but I believe some of the clothing stuff is through their office in Pinoka. So I was hoping maybe we could ask Jen to volunteer the coordination of that clothing order. You had some experience with Strand in the past, and we can help facilitate some of that as well. It's more the sizing, but yeah, we've got some emails from Judy in the past that we can help really getting the right size. If they have the same product, we can get that, and if not, then we can have another discussion on it.
Okay, so the people who need the jacket and the shirt will be John and Ken and Cora. Elaine, do you have proper sizing? I don't think you have proper sizing because you took a hand down from.
It's okay.
Okay, no, I'm just asking her. It's just for fun. Okay. Okay, so reach out to Jennifer. If you're not on the Cora, John, and Ken list, if you need new sizing, otherwise, assume that's being taken care of.
So will we wait for an invitation to go to get size? Or?
Yes.
Okay.
Are you on that, Jennifer?
Hi, Chair. Yes, I'll look after the invitation once I figure out where we get them and where they can go to get sized, or I can bring some in. I do want to back up and ask who made the motion to attend the trade show. I know Cam second, but I didn't hear who actually made the motion. John did. Thank you.
I'm on the agenda already. And nobody sees my hand going up, so I'm not even on the agenda or on the minutes yet.
You can
No,
adjourn.
not at all.
We got Cameron to come up yet?
Yes.
Do we get to hand out swag treats or something at the trade show?
I think there's a few things to think about, even what do we have from a setup point of view, and is what we have for banners or swag or anything effective. I know that the chief has a stash of.
Definitely got some police service swag that if you would like some commission specific items, we could order those.
That's,
I don't think it's gonna matter if it comes from the commission or the service.
Yeah, I agree.
If we can just steal some
Yeah.
from the chief. I don't think we'll be any further ahead if it says commissioner service on it.
I think we have a pile of pens that we ordered for the last trade show that didn't go. So I think we have stuff here. And we've got lanyards and stuff too that
Cars for the kids.
we used to.
Costco
Those are
kids.
really good, but they're also a little pricey, so, but we can look at that stuff.
Sonia?
Do we have any of those screws for the license plates? Those were very popular and a nice conversation piece on just that, adding that safety for our folks. It may not need to be that. It could be some sort of protect your identity card thing that you use for your credit card, or something that's more safety oriented that we could pass out.
Yeah, flashlights. Those screws will take a look. We usually take those. The province quit supplying them.
Okay.
Get those for free, and they aren't giving those things out anymore. So we may have some in our stockpile.
It was nice to have something that we were offering that was safety oriented. So that started a conversation often with our public, right? So I don't know what else it could be, but I'm sure you've got a catalog that you could take a look at, and we can maybe find something that's a little bit on the safety side that doesn't cost a fortune, right?
Yeah, we'll take a look, and yeah, the safety whistles were a hit, but not for children. So we'll take a look and see what we can come up with and get it in time. So we'll have to order that really soon.
And I guess Commissioner Will Larson mentioned too candy as well. So we take a look at what we've got in our bin and supplement it with some wrapped
Costco
treats
candy.
and.
What about locking reflectors?
We'll take a look. There's safety oriented swag, and we've looked at some in the past. Some items are actually fairly hard to get right now. But we have the credit card protector things. There's little hold down things for your cameras on your laptops so nobody can.
That might not be bad in this day and age.
Yeah, they're good ideas. It's just not everything's as available as it once was.
And Elaine, I love the reflector idea too, because we have so many citizens that are walkers, and promotes that health and wellness piece too. That's a really good idea.
Those flashlights I gave you were actually a really good price.
Awesome.
Can't get that cheap, so we could actually order a bunch of those for the trade show.
All right, so just on continuation of our annual work plan then, I think we left it May. We have Chief's contract for review this year as well.
Chair Gish, can I just interrupt one more comment?
Yeah.
What I really also liked about the trade show is that we were close by with the city council table. And in the past, that's really facilitated lots of conversations between commission and council members. And I think that was advantageous as well, because it helped form that relationship between our two groups. So I don't know if we can make a request to be close to council, and because they always have their little corner, and we usually sit beside them. And then it allows us to have some chats with them during our downtime. So just one other suggestion that I find have been really helpful. I've enjoyed that, so.
The joys of being on the side of the city. You can choose where you want to go.
And typically that's what we try and do. So when I talk to the chamber, we'll just try and keep it the same as what it was.
Thank you, great.
All right, just a quick scan of the rest of it. Any questions of the annual plan or any changes or suggestions?
Chair, we had talked about adding in another review in the off year of the chief review to do a review of the service. I don't, did we not talk about that? And maybe I'm speaking out of turn here, but adding in a yearly review, one of the chief and then the off year, a review of his service. Is that something we had toyed with the option of doing, adding in a second review? And I was just curious if that was something we should be looking at, adding into the work plan that we were in front of the membership every year instead of every second year. During questions, or am I just blowing smoke here? Did I just make this up in my head?
Well, I think we have had some discussions that we haven't involved yet about what can we do to improve communication. So let's keep that on our in-camera agenda. And then you're right, though, is once we made a decision on that, put that into the work plan. Does that sound
Yep, that
reasonable?
works.
All right. Unless there's any other thoughts on work plan, we'll keep moving along. So we're at item 10.2, commission member training, which again, we've talked about a little bit here already, that will be an ongoing thing as the vice chair gets on it. If there are things that different commission members come up with, we have a set standard of things we need to do. But if you come across training that you think would be helpful, then I always feel free to bring it to the commission. Chief's evaluation. We've talked about this, but we do need to strike our evaluation committee. We did talk about it last time, and I think, I can't remember if we struck it or not. I apologize, I've just forgotten. Sonia for sure wanted to be involved in it. And Cam?
I'll be in, yeah. Put me in for-
Sonia, do you recall? I can't remember if we formed this committee last meeting.
No, we did not.
Thanks, Jennifer. So it can be all of us. It can be some of us. I think it's prudent not for it to be me. And for us, it's prudent not to be her, just to keep the town council, city council away from the process. So I want you to feel free to join this committee. It's not a restricted number. It is a bit of a commitment though, for time.
How much, like, are you talking about doing this over a 1 week, 2 week kind of time frame?
We normally try and get it done in a week, and just offer a couple of evenings or mornings to meet during one of the weeks that we select. I think last year or last time we did it, I think we were invested in it to the tune of about 6 hours of meeting times, 2 3-hour sessions.
Well, I'd sit in on that. You know, like, I think between the three of us would get however many, yeah.
And with Sonny's term expiring here, I think it's good to have some
The
new
more the
eyes
better.
and just be very familiar with the way Sonny's been doing it the past couple of years. So I
And-
would say,
And then Commissioner Will Larson also would like to be part of that committee. And Ken, are you interested, or you just kind of leave that and?
I think I'll leave that and stick with.
Yeah.
PCD right now, it's a time frame or what we need to do.
Fair enough. So Sonia, can I just leave that committee in your hands?
Can you tell me who said they'd like to be a part of the committee? I heard Commissioner Larson, and did I hear John say that he would also be a part?
Yes, and Cam Henstone.
Okay, absolutely. I am, I'd like to usually have this already to rock and roll for this meeting. It's been a bit crazy here. So over the break, while I have some days off, I will get this out and organized, and we'll start selecting our dates. So watch for an email on maybe Tuesday-ish, and we'll get this rolling.
real good.
Oh, good, yeah. I was gonna say with Ken's role as PCD, he should be consulted in that process because that is a fairly significant part of the chief's role in dealing with public complaints and compliance. So even though he's not a committee member, he should be consulted, or the PCD should be.
So he's one of those meetings, maybe?
Sonny, did you get that?
Kind of got that PCD should be involved.
CC Ken as PCD as you're getting organized, and then Ken can take a look at what he wants to get on or not. Does that sound fair?
Got it. Got him on my list.
Interviewee or somebody providing input list.
Oh, so as PCD maybe help monitor who's being interviewed and
No,
who's, or no, what?
No,
or he
should be interviewed, or
Okay,
there should be a conversation with PCE on that relationship role and compliance with public complaints process.
Okay.
As one of my functions, I guess. I think it's fairly significant that performance-wise, that scenario for assessment. Yeah, it's not a popularity
yeah.
contest. It's are you performing or competent in those areas? And I think that is significant as well.
So am I hearing this right, that we would ask Ken to slot himself in for an interview time like members and support staff?
I don't know if it has to be that formal, but however you solicit that input, whether it's in a questionnaire or face to face, his input should be taken into account. And I don't know whether he needs to line up with the membership to meet when you meet them in the office, but however that information is obtained. I think even in the process or in your policies, there is input from the CAO, but even Diane being on the CAC for alert and some other functions that are directly some other individuals outside of the police service should also be included in the overall assessment process.
The CAO did write the commission and asked to be part of the evaluation process with respect to the interactions with the city and financial management.
Okay, so I need your help here then. This is new. We have not included the CAO or the COA in the interviews in the past. We have invited a category of other to do our survey. So that could be that could be those sorts of people. Tell me how you want to proceed. You could give me a list. I can invite them for a face-to-face interview, and also make sure the survey gets to them. Because we've never had Diane complete the survey or have interview either.
No, we haven't. And so that was a letter that was written after the last in-depth chief evaluation, Sonia. I have a letter on file somewhere that I'll forward to you where the CAO did ask to be part of the evaluation process. And I think that it is relevant just in terms of so much of the chief's position is managerial and working in and out of the city that
so I'd like to suggest that you guys provide me the list of the other, so Diane, Matt, whomever else the others may be, that you would like me to invite to the face-to-face interviews and also send the survey to.
Diane, do you have some thoughts, or Cora, do you have some thoughts within the city about who the relevant people would be?
Those, I would say Diane and Matt for sure. Yeah. And
I myself would say Matt, absolutely. He does have a lot. I'd be happy to fill out a survey as well. I have an excellent relationship with Chief Bloomhagen. I have no problem with filling anything out there. So.
Well, and our goal has always been to do a 360 kind of survey. So the more input, I agree, and I think the chief would too. So, so what I think I'm hearing is we'll send out the survey to those others. You will identify yourself as an other group because we do support staff, we do professional staff or the members, and then we'll have an other on the survey. And we will also invite you to a face-to-face interview. And if you don't feel like you need to do that, then don't do it.
And what about so Diana's manager of corporate services, director, excuse me. And so then that covers the accounting, Diane?
Yeah, I can speak to that if need be. We can also include Tracy McKinnon, who's our a senior manager for finance. So that would be no problem as well if you want more eyes on it, for sure.
I don't think it hurts to have more eyes. So finance, CAO, and director of corporate.
MPCD, right?
And PCD,
And PCD would be our 4 others.
we don't need council, or is that kind of under the CA?
But also we have our council rep on
Right.
the commission.
That's right.
That's where you've got that covered.
Yeah.
And the reason I'm throwing this out here is it goes back to a discussion a few years ago on my assessment is
Yes.
we don't get into popularity contest type of assessment process. The assessment should be based on our set priorities and strategic plan and meeting objectives for the service. And some of that includes employee relationships, but it also includes partnerships, and Diane can speak to that on a provincial level, CAC, partnerships with the city. So there's all these components that for a in-depth assessment, but also a fair assessment. Me to have my clear guidelines or expectations. That strategic document is really my guiding light or my template. So the assessment really should be in line with that. So whoever's being interviewed, employees, there's other components to my job that others can speak to from their perspectives, and I have no problem with that. I actually encourage it, and I think it's a fair way to see or get input from all of the various areas in relation to my duties.
So is there anyone else we're not thinking of from a 360 point of view?
And I forgot to include police commission members also do the survey and have an opportunity for interview as well.
And or you?
I was just gonna mention Brad, like he left on his own accord as a PC, right?
Yes.
But isn't it appropriate to still include him potentially in this evaluation
Or wouldn't he be the PCD that we approach?
rather than Ken?
Yeah, because
I don't know, I'm just saying
Yeah.
the historical.
I agree with you. And so that when we're looking at creating procedure, it should be PCD. And yes, when we've had a turnover, it should be old PCD and new PCD.
Yeah.
So that's a good point for it.
Yeah. And that's what I'm speaking to the position to,
Correct.
and the person that would have most knowledge as to, and in a year from now, and be.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, in a better position to speak to that.
The chief, if you have not looked at the survey recently, you can take a look. If there's something specific, especially in the interview process, that you would like to have a specific question on, we want to try and have consistency in year to year, 2018 survey results, 2020, 2022. So we want to keep the base of the survey the same, but we can always add additional questions on the survey that will be just a one-off for a particular year, or an interview question that you are particularly wanting to dig down on or drill down on. I think we can add that as long as we keep the consistency of all the other questions there. We can always add something like that if you feel that you want to add that.
Where do I go to find it?
I can share it with you right this second.
Okay, good.
I'll share you the 2021 and it's got the results right in it. So I'll just send it to you right now.
And the one comment from the last survey, just off the top of my head, was there was some questions that were definitely designed for commission members or other individuals that the membership and staff wouldn't have any insight or knowledge of, that would be confusing for them to answer, or they're going to make assumptions on what's being asked. So you may have to break it down between members or the entity that you're asking the questions to. Because even the commission members were asked questions that were more operationally based that I think some struggled with answering correctly. I know you always have the option to say not applicable and check
Right.
that off as long as that's properly used.
And we do have that option. It says not able to assess. And so if you're not able to assess, please feel that you cannot assess this competency area. I see that there's a spelling typo here. It says access, but assess the competency area. Please leave it blank. But I can make sure that's bolded and corrected so that people know that they are to leave those questions blank, because that's what we found in 2018, Chief, and then we changed it for 2020.
Great. Oh, and I guess throw Jen on the list too. She would have a lot of.
Yeah,
I always just include Jen as police commission member kind of idea.
Great.
okay.
So Sonia, just to clarify, so in the 2020 survey, because I've got a 2018 here, right within the body of the question, did it say not applicable, or
No.
Was it only in that intro? Because,
It's only in the intro.
so I don't know, does everybody read the intro?
That's why I say I can bold it or whatever. It just said, if you're unable to assess the competency indicator, leave it blank. I can certainly put an NA probably on each question. I can probably add NA onto each question. I just have to fiddle around with the Google survey a little bit. So you're suggesting, Corey, that we put it on every question?
Every question, I would suggest that, yeah.
Okay.
Just, yeah, that would be my suggestion.
All right, annual report will be in process, so it'll stay as a standing item. We're at item 10.5, which is confirmed. Next meeting will be March 17th here at the station. Green coffee.
It's before you're going out, Kim. It's okay.
Yeah, it's not the 18th. It'll be okay. So at this stage on our agenda, we've moved to in-camera spots, so I would accept a motion to go in camera.
Donnie, you want to make a motion to go in the camera?
Yes, she does. Ken, have you seconded? You've done. Would you like to second that?
Second.
Ken? Round our names about, all in favor? So in camera at 10:30.
Bye, Diane.
I'll just take my leave. Thank you, guys. Have a great